The Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC Limited, has accused government officials, religious leaders, security agencies, and some even staff of the nation's crude oil theft. Speaking during the 49th session of the weekly ministerial briefing at the State House in Abuja, NNPC Group Chief Executive Officer Mele Kyari maintained that the menace involves every member of the society. According to him, crude oil theft, which has resulted in the discovery of 295 illegal connections, making it difficult for oil companies to operate efficiently. For this reason, the NNPC board disclosed that the entire network of pipelines for petroleum products distribution in the country has been shut down as a result of the activities of the vandals. Meanwhile, the federal government, through the Ministry of Interior, says it has acquired 8 gunboats to combat crude oil theft in the country. This was as it directed security operatives to clamp down on vandals and oil thieves sabotaging the nation's economy. We still have Dr. Dayo Kayode right here with us in the studio. Dr. Dayo, let's talk about the oil theft in Nigeria. The loss of millions and billions of naira yearly due to oil theft, vandals, here and there, and the government acquiring some gunboats to be able to curb, I don't want to use the word fight now, curb oil theft in the nation. Let me get your thoughts.
You see, when we're talking about oil theft, it can't be me. It can't be Samson. Neither can it be you. It's all the big men that are involved. When I was reading that news, something came to my mind. Because they know themselves. There was a time Baba Obasanjo said, the Adeboye I know is a spiritual man. But it's also a person I know, a businessman. Another big name in the religious circle. Okay? So I wouldn't say no when he was mentioning all that. But my own grouse is in the area of, since you know these people, that they are big men in the society, leaders of religious institutions, leaders of traditional institutions, leaders of economic institutions and all that, why don't you mention their names?
Name and shame.
Mention their names. Let us get them prosecuted, because these are people causing economic sabotage for our nation, which is a kind of an encumbrance to our economic development. So why don't we name them and let us know, and then let them pay for their sins? That is that too. You are buying gumboot. How much is one costing you? Okay? Vis-a-vis the amount of money, I think 4 billion or so, paying Tompolo every month for safeguarding all those things. So who is fooling who?
I was coming to that now. They said it's a step in the right direction, because they need, he was part of the military giving amnesty, and now they need people who know that terrain to be able to.
Do we need such an humongous amount of money to safeguard that thing? Who is fooling who somewhere? Are we saying it is not another way, because you are not providing again gunboats? Are we now saying is another way in which to have a kind of infiltration into that particular community that you have been trying to do before now with different types of policies? Like for instance, Ruga. Like for instance, that whatever policy. I don't know whether you understand. Are you not coming from the back door for another sin again? To what extent have you devoted money to fight insurgency in our country? To what extent have you devoted money to fighting gold theft in our nation? Are we not having illegal miners in Osun State, in Zamfara State, all over the places? Are we not having them? So what are you doing also to that? So these are issues that we need to put together, because you know why? There is a huge trust gap between the government and the people. And why? Because most of the policies they come up with, they are laced with inconsistencies.
Let's, we'll still delve to the issue of religious leaders and prominent Nigerians being involved in, this heinous crime of oil theft, vandalism and all. But let's look at the issue you raised, which is using gunboats to, fight oil theft and all of that, how efficient it will be. You mentioned the 4 billion naira contract to Tompolo, that those are already raising concerns that could also ignite some sort of, clash between Niger Delta militants. It will. Your Tompolo camp, you are
empowering Tompolo camp.
The Asai Dokubo camp will also feel that eligible.
Yes, they are going to feel slighted.
Yes, and we've been hearing rhetorics from those camps. Now, here's the thing. For this, issue of oil theft, especially in the Niger Delta region, if the NNPC, group CEO says, oh, prominent Nigerians, staff of NNPC themselves, even, the security agencies are involved, how effective then is the gunboat, the use of gunboats in fighting all of this? Because the same security officials that will make use of the gunboats, some of them are also...
Most of them, not some, involved. Most of them.
So how does...
The issue now is, when that gunboat is pursuing a vessel, carrying our crude oil, carrying stolen crude oil, and inside of it, you are now meeting somebody like, okay, don't let me mention names, so that somebody who is prominent.
Okay, that's fine.
You're now meeting somebody who is very prominent and who is a respectable citizen and elder of this country, not leader, elder of this country. What will they do? Like the chief of Naval Staff mentioned, that he had apprehended some vessels before now without papers. And they will say, let us go, we will provide papers. And they will provide the papers. Where are those papers coming from? Is it not from the ministry? Is it not from NNPC? Who are those people that you have seen that is making you to release? So why don't you publish those names? So buying of gunboat, telling me that they have bought gunboats to fight this, I mean, it's still increasing, increasing the gap, the truth gap between the people and the government. Mention their names. Don't buy gunboats. Let us use part of that money, all that money, and then the money you have given to how much is ASU asking for? How much will the government use to sort the problem of ASU? And then make sure that we don't eat into our future.
All right, Dr. Diana, let's look at some of the figures now. The federal government is saying that Nigeria loses 400,000 barrels of crude oil on a daily basis.
Yes.
And a report from Reuters said in July, which is the 7th month of, July.
Just last month,
like 1 billion was lost due to oil theft. Now, a lot of persons will say that these figures are probably overshot, or they are undershot.
They are
undershot.
Under.
$1 billion, yes, undershot or overshot. But look at the figures. How did we get to this point? It wasn't that pronounced before now, but it looked like as the day goes by, there is an additional figure that keeps coming up and up.
Because big men had always been involved. Okay? Big men had always been involved. And then each day that breaks, you have some other big men who have been getting information, either from when they're in the club, or when they're in a meeting, or when they're in one panel or the other, and they now want to also come in. So there is now a kind of a friction of big men trying to come in. So, in order to discredit this, for them to come in, they will definitely be saying this. But they won't want to mention names. So that when they also get there, they won't mention it. You know, I once said it here. That the problem Nigeria is facing today is nothing other than connivance of the leadership. And I define that leadership to include religious leaders. We have had it now. To include traditional leaders. It has been mentioned now. To include economic leaders. Not only political leaders. All the leaders in all facets of life are involved. Don't be surprised. One of these days they will mention a VC's name, a vice chancellor's name, so that such a vice chancellor will be able to be talking to ASU whenever they want to. Do you understand?
Looking at the situation now, I mean, shutting down, you know, the pipelines in terms of distribution and all, is that really the way forward when you have, you know, various leakages here and there and diversion?
Block those leakages. Block those leakages. Do you understand? Block those leakages. And that's why I said we have a policy inconsistencies in different forms. You know, it comes in various forms. Okay, look at this. You have seen the leakage. Why don't you block it? You have known the thieves. Why don't you mention their names? You need this money to sort these people. Why don't you use the money you are filtering here to that place? You know that when you empower a group than the other group, this other group will face this. Are you not trying to cause another disaffection in the Niger Delta area, so that there will be problem? And then when that problem is on, we now say you want to declare state of emergency. People should think fast and let us quickly get to the root of this matter. They have the, like I said it, they have their plans. They have where they are going, and they always, each time, they don't sleep. They are always thinking on how to get these people, because they know that with the advent of communal world village now, people are now getting information. People are now getting different forms of styles. Do you understand? Concepts to explain certain issues. So they too, each day that breaks, they think, how do we corner these people? It's about cornering us that is making them to do this. That 40 billion, given the Tompolu, 4 billion monthly. That 4 billion monthly. Sorry, I was saying 40 billion when I was now calculating how it will be yearly. 48. Then I said, okay, in 10 months, that 40. Is 40. In 2 other months, plus 8, 48 billion. Do you understand? It's to cause another problem there. Because they know the group of Asai Dokubo too will stand up. The group of sorry, I don't know how to pronounce most of those complex names. We also rise up. Before you now know it, there will be another serious crisis in the Niger Delta. And what happens? They will declare state of, you know, Niger Delta consists of virtually all the southern region, all the southern region, even including southeast, part of southeast. Yes, part of southeast. So when there is a problem, there's a serious problem there now. Shebi Kanu's whatever have been doused. They are saying, okay, they are no more doing this, there will be this, there will be that. They are now trying to come up with another one. So that there will be crisis, and then they will now declare state of, I'm waiting for them to come and declare that state of emergency to say because of this, because then we will tell them that they are the cause. Okay, let's look at this as we, you know, try to wrap up this particular discussion. How do we cover all of this? And the reason for this question is, yes, it's, you know, recurring once again, but we have to talk about it because it is now broad. Before it used to be, security officers are complicit in the oil theft, or vandalism of a thing. But right now, you also have religious, you know, bodies like your churches, your mosques involved, you know. So it's now a broader, you know, challenge in terms of curbing oil theft, vandalism, and all of that. How do we curb it? That's still the question that remains on the table. Who is to curb it? Who are the we that we curb it? Well, federal governments, we the people, nation. Because I want us to be able to define that area. That is the area of the government,
Okay.
while there is the area of the people. In the area of the government, don't expect anything good.
Okay.
Because they are the ones that are involved. And they know why we are having it now is because they want to use it to cause friction among the people. Between you and me, that's the truth. Because if the chief of naval staff could come out for the first time in history of Nigeria and then say that in public, okay, then something is cooking somewhere. And mark you, as the chief of naval staff, he will never say that without getting clearance from the presidency. Are you aware? He will never say that without getting clearance from the presidency. Or the presidency asking him to go and make such utterances in the public. So to that extent, let us leave that one as is until when the drummer underneath the water drumming for that insect dancing on top of water is being revealed.
Right.
Now on the part of the people, I've been saying it and I continue to say it. Not until when the people from their own volition decide to come together and fight this anarchical government and get themselves emancipated from the claws of their hegemonic structure, the people will continue to be politically, economically, socially, educationally emancipated.
All right, Dr. Dayo, thank you so much. But before we just go quickly, the statement from Medicare is saying that petrol importation would end by June 2023. That's approximately 10 months from now. With all of this, quickly, with all of this going on, do you think 10 months is enough to curb oil theft and put an end to petrol importation? Quickly, Dr. Dayo.
We have had this government making a lot of promises in the past. Boko Haram has been technically defeated. Sambisa had been totally leveled or captured. This and this, even the terrorists being given chieftaincy title with even security agencies in attendance. So for Kyari to now be telling me that fuel importation will end by June 2023, for me, I'm getting my fingers crossed until then. Now, no matter how we even end fuel importation, are we saying those pipes that we'll be using to transport the crude to whichever refinery they are coming up with, because June 23 will soon be here and there is no refinery coming up except that of Dangote.
Yeah, we can hope for a miracle.
You are hoping for a miracle? Okay, yes.
We always do.
We will fast for 100 days or 140 days.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, can that one curb all theft? When we know that they themselves are the one that are involved.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dayo Kayode. Well, we still have Dr. Dayo Kayode right here in the studio. We have another conversation for you, but that would be after this breather. We'll be right back.